Hello and happy Wednesday, or whatever day you listen or watch this video. All Things Healing podcast and video. I want to share something with you. I was listening to something yesterday and it literally was what I needed to hear. I needed to hear this and I didn't even know I needed to hear this. The technique that I'm also about to use, Legendary Speaker Challenge, was amazing also yesterday. I'm going to use the me, we, you technique. In this technique, it's the audience connection, okay? It's how I share a story and connect with the audience. Somebody is going to relate to this story, okay? There was a time when I was so mad and so angry with my father. I met my father when I was 13. He was in prison. And, went back and forth to prison to visit him. And eventually he got out. I think I was about 28 or so when he got out. And I had these expectations of this relationship that never happened. And I was mad all over again. You see, we have a tendency to put these expectations on people that they cannot even meet, that they don't even know about. Have you ever had some high expectations of your parent, of your loved ones, and they never could meet them? That was my story. And I was so angry, so bitter, so stuck. I just resented him. I saw him be a father to other people's kids. I saw him be a grandfather to my children. And yet he could not be that to me. Like, I wanted to be daddy's little girl. I wanted that love. I wanted to make up for that time. Right? And I didn't get it. And I was just pissed off all over again. And I said I forgave. But there's levels to forgiveness. Can I say that? There's levels to forgiveness. Because when you forgive one thing, it's like something else comes up. If something else comes up. And I'm writing all these total truth letters, getting this stuff out. Nevertheless, there's stuff that was still there that I didn't even know. And I heard this young man share this story yesterday. And this story literally made my heart skip a beat. I was like, what is that? And I'm listening to this story. I just felt something inside of me. And I honestly feel like a part of me needed to hear that. And a part of me healed as I heard this young man share this story, this powerful story about his father. So I'm going to share it with you in the way that I heard it, okay? So, growing up, this young man, father was not in his life. And he never acknowledged him. He never said he was his son. He never owned up to anything. And they lived like 20 minutes away. So fast forward now, he has a family, he has children. So him and his family, his kids went to see his dad's side of the family. So they get to the place, they get to his grandmother's house, and a man opens the door. The man is his father. And the grandmother, he's looking like, who is this? Who are you? They didn't even know who he is. Okay. Did not know who he was. Did not recognize him. So the grandmother's like, that's your son. So-and-so, so-and-so. He was like, the father still didn't acknowledge him. So they came in, they sat down, and he said he was feeling all kind of stuff inside. He was just like, this man here, like, really? And he said, as he was holding his son, his father reached out his hands for him like, hey, I want to hold him too. So he said he thought about that thing. He said his wife looked at him because she know, they had been talking. They had been in communication about everything. So she know the whole story too. So she looking at him and they looking at each other. So he he felt like God told him, let him hold him. He was like, what? Let him hold him. So he held his son. He playing with his son. And then he felt again. God told him, take a picture. Take a selfie. He said, so he's taking a picture and, his father and him and the son. And he said, I had the picture. Cause that's how the conversation started. He was like, your man was like, tell him what you told us backstage. If you feel like it right now, I ain't trying to call you out. So he was like, he had the picture on his phone. He was the man. He said, look at this. He said, I want to show you something. And he started telling his story. And then once he shared that powerful story, right, this man has not even acknowledged him till this day, and want to hold his son, his grandson, right. So He said, it took everything in me not to say nothing. I just did what I felt like I needed to do, what God told me to do. Let him hold him, let him give him to him. And that was hard for him to do, but he did it anyway. He was obedient, right? And this man, the other young man, said something. When he mentioned this word here, I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. He said, what you just did was bloodline realignment. Bloodline realignment. Because here's the thing. You can continue to hold on to that hurt or that anger, that hate, and that unforgiveness. Or you can forgive and let it go. And I know that's hard too. It's all hard. But when you do that, though, that's going to be bloodline realignment. You're changing the trajectory for your life and your children's life and your children's life by doing it differently. You don't have to continue to do what they do the way they did it. They did what they did. They weren't there because they weren't there. They may not ever be there. But you know what? You get to change the trajectory of your bloodline. You get to change the trajectory of your bloodline. You get to realign that thing. Because they may not ever come back and fix it. They may not know how to. They may not care to. Nevertheless, you get to do it differently. And my soul needed to hear that. Because that's exactly what was happening. And I couldn't understand it. In my personal life, in my personal relationship with my father and my kids, that's what happened. It was bloodline realignment. I no longer look at him with hurt and disgust and anger. I look at him with forgiveness and love for where he is, for who he is. Not who I want him to be, not who I need him to be, but who he is. A lot of times what lets us down is our expectations we have of people that either don't know about them or cannot meet them. That's my story. And I needed to hear that. My soul needed to hear that. And I don't know who else may need to hear that today. You get to realign your bloodline. It stops with you. The dysfunction stops with you. The poor management of money stops with you. The divorce stops with you. The dysfunctional families and relationships stops with you. The abandonment and rejection stops with you. The lying and the manipulating stops with you. We can't do anything about what our parents, our friends, and our loved ones have done or didn't do. We get to turn that boat around. We get to line it back up. We get to align that thing back up in the right way. So the people that's coming behind us, our children, our children, they get to have a better outcome because we chose to do it differently. We chose to forgive. We chose to change the trajectory of our bloodline. It stops with us. It stops with generational curse breaker. It stops with us. It stops with me. Because if it doesn't, it continues. You see, I had children. And, one of my children's father does not want to be involved in his life. See how it continues? When you don't address it, it continues. There's so many times I used to beat myself up about that. But the choices I made. And how they affect other people. Guess what? Bloodline realignment. Wasn't there because it wasn't there. It's all good. We get to change that. Realignment. I can't change what happened back there, but I can change what happens going forward. I don't know who need to hear that, but felt it in my soul, felt it in my spirit. That healed me. That is healing me. Healing is a journey. It's a process. That's all. from my heart to whoever need to hear it.